Good afternoon, guys. It's working, bringing you a quick update on EOS. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at EOS to the US dollar, one-day chart on Bitfinex. And guys, EOS is operating within a larger wedge. I pointed out a couple smaller wedges in the last few updates, guys, but this has all been a part of a larger wedge that is now obviously formed, where we've created a series of lower highs, higher lows. We're on the daily chart, as I said, guys, and we're now reaching the apex of this larger wedge. And EOS is going to have to make a move, guys. We can see that today's candle, it's created almost a just a spinning top, a very neutral looking candle at this point, guys. And it's going to have to make a decisive move in the next 24 to 48 hours as it reaches the apex of this wedge. But not just the apex of this wedge, we're also reaching this descending resistance line that has been in place since it's been in place since, looks like, going all the way back to May, actually. So that's a very relevant descending resistance line. It's been tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now it looks like it's about to get tested for a 7th time. As price approaches it here. We also have this other descending resistance line that's been in place since mid-June. It's been tested a few times. We're not there yet. That's this outer line here. But first things first, looking at this first descending resistance line, we're either going to see price come in here, hit this line and massively reject, or I think we're going to see an impulse wave up from this line. I do think one of the two is going to happen. I don't think it's just going to continue to move sideways as it has been. If I zoom in here, we can see that this 8865 fib level, holding at about 6.85, $6.85, has acted as a very, very relevant, very strong support for the last few days. We can see it came down. It got through it just a little bit here, went down to about 6.82. So it penetrated by just a few cents and then was immediately rejected. Came down here, hit it right on the nose, came down again, hit it almost right on the nose again. And then it's just been moving kind of sideways, slow trickle up for the last two, this is the 3rd day now. So again, guys, as we approach the apex of any wedge, we know that a larger move becomes very likely. And as this descending resistance line is also sitting here, I do think we're going to have a lot of volume, a lot of momentum to break up. Or if I pull in here to the 4-hour chart, there we go. We can see that price did just break up here, hit the top of this wedge, was immediately rejected, guys. It's just still moving sideways, though. It didn't start moving down, but I do think there's a very high possibility we may come up, test it one more time, come back down. Oh, sorry about that. Test the top one more time, come right back down. At that point, we're going to, one of two things are going to happen, guys. We're either going to impulse off the bottom of this wedge, impulse right back up, or it's just going to crash right through. And if it crashes right through this time, guys, I do think there's a high likelihood that this support is going to break at 6.85, $6.85. I do think that's going to break. That's going to bring us deeper into this demand zone between 690 and 6.60. I do think if it does break below that 6.85, there's a very high likelihood it's going to come down, test this bottom zone where we bottomed out before at about 6.55. So it just went right through this demand zone slightly. So I do think there's a very high probability we'll come down, test the bottom of this demand zone. And at that point, guys, as I told you before, we'll either get a double bottom where it'll hit this and then just immediately impulse up, or it's going to just crash right through. And if it does crash right through, guys, we know that we do have this support at $6, between $6 and 5.75. And right below that, we have a very strong demand zone between between 5.60 and 5.10. So that's again, two very strong support zones. I don't think it's going to break below this bottom one. The top one, I do think that, I even think this top one is going to hold, guys. But if it doesn't, I do think this bottom one will certainly hold, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it has to, just my opinion, just in my opinion. To the upside, we do have this supply zone between 7.33, 7.42 that price is going to have to get past. First thing we're going to have to break is the top of this microstructure here. So this top of this, what's at this wedge here at about $7.30. If we get north of that, immediately we're going to enter into this supply zone between 733, 742. And if we break 742, guys, we're going to have to see a lot of volume increase to do that. But if we do break 742, guys, I think it'll be a very quick rise up to either 780 to $8, that range, somewhere up in here between 780 and $8. I do think it'll be a very quick rise to that zone. If we come over here and we look at our moving averages and exponential moving averages, we can see this is again on the 4-hour chart. We can see that our Bollinger Bands. I pointed this out last time, and it's even gotten more true in the last 2 days. The Bollinger Bands are starting to converge. They're starting to bottleneck. Certainly, especially within the last 8 hours, they've really started to bottleneck. We can see price tried to break above the top Bollinger Band, was immediately rejected. Tested this 50-day moving average, was immediately rejected. And the 8 and 21-day moving averages are sitting right on top of one another. We can say this 50-day moving average, or excuse me, the 8 and 21-day exponential moving average is sitting right on top of one another, and the 8-day, or excuse me, and the 50-day moving average there in orange is making a beeline towards the 21 and 8-day exponential moving average. In other words, starting to converge on each other once again. 55-day exponential moving average also starting to converge. So once these all line up, then they don't even have to line up to see a breakout, guys. We could see a breakout at any time, especially with the Bollinger Bands as tight as they are right now. But as they start to converge, a breakout becomes more and more likely. This is why I say in the next 24 to 48 hours, I do think we're going to see a much larger move, a more impulsive move. Okay, so let me come out here and let's look at our longs and shorts. If we look at the longs on the 4-hour chart, longs are starting to stack. They're not going up so much in a straight line, kind of stacking. It looks kind of like a healthy stack to me. If they go up in a straight line, it's obviously oftentimes a very quick fall, but they're kind of just moving up. What concerns me though is the shorts. The shorts are just kind of dropping. Shorts have just been moving down almost, not quite, but almost in a straight line. And anytime you see it move that quickly, oftentimes it reverses course that quickly. So we may see shorts start to stack again. We may see a lot of sell orders enter the market, and that could drive price right back down. So we're going to have to wait and see. And let's be honest, guys, EOS, like all the other altcoins right now, are also at the mercy of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does drop, EOS is going to drop with it. If Bitcoin does rise, EOS is going to rise with it. The question is how far, or is it going? I believe that it'll go at a much quicker rate, but we'll have to wait and see how it ends up playing out. But if Bitcoin just remains neutral, guys, I still think there's going to be a chance for EOS to move independently on its own in a much larger way if Bitcoin just kind of remains neutral, because it does look right to pop here in the next 24 to 48 hours. So anyway, guys, as far as trade setups go, I told you before I might try to play this double bottom scenario here at 6.55, stacking orders between 6.60 and 6.50. Very, very tight stop at 6.45. Very, very tight stop at 6.45 to 6.40. I'll ladder in, ladder out at those ranges. That's a possible trade scenario to the upside. If I do see price impulse ups above the 742, I may play a quick scalp trade between 750. As I see it, I might buy on strength. So I may wait for price to come up. As it impulses, if it impulses up, I would expect it to come back down, just to come back down, possibly retest this zone. It would act as support if that does happen, and that's where I would place my buy orders. Once it impulses up, I'd wait for that retrace, and I'd place my buy orders right on that retrace, targeting between $7.90 and $8. So these are my quick thoughts on EOS, guys. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, please trade safe. This is Working, signing out.